I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper, and welcome back to Build. The Neighborhood is a comedy about the Johnsons, a white family that moved from the Midwest to a predominantly black neighborhood. Their new neighbors are a little bit wary of the newcomers, and of course, hilarity ensues. Beth Behrs plays Gemma Johnson, and she's here to talk about the neighborhood. But first, here's a clip from next week's finale. Welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing today?
I'm so good. It's so fun to be in New York.
I love this outfit. You're like bringing me into spring.
Thank you. I know. I'm so excited. It's spring in LA. Everything's blooming because we finally had rain this year. And it's like all I want to do is hike all day long.
We're still struggling here on the East Coast.
You know, but it's starting to pop. I'm seeing like little tulips popping up here and there.
They're fighting.
I know. It was cold last night, let me tell you. That's cold for me.
I know.
But
you brought some spring and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I love this show. And you guys, we know we're going to get a second season, which is fantastic. What does that feel like for you that audiences have responded in
I mean,
that way?
we all cried. I mean, we just weren't expecting, you know, it's so hard nowadays with all the television out there to have people watch your show. And I just, you know, we love each other so much. It's such a family and we're having way too much fun. Like at work, it's not work. It's truly like the best group ever. So we're so happy and so lucky that we get to come back. I can't wait to go back. I'm like counting down till August.
So you go back in August?
So we go back August, like 1st or something.
So you have this summer off, or are you going to be working on other things?
I might be doing another a movie. We're trying to figure it out right now, but yeah.
You have a little time. Do you have any fun vacations planned?
My dad's 60th birthday is coming up, so we're trying to figure out, you know, that whole thing because we have to celebrate him. He's a big old 6-0. Yeah.
So the show.
Not that that's old.
It's really not.
It's like basically the new 30. So
my mom is 62 and she does like a hip hop dance class, and like she's
love
like
your
more
mom.
vibrant now than I am now.
Oh yeah, my
I go
mom's
sit
a
on the
yogi.
couch.
I'm like, and they do way more than I do. I'm like, why are you out and I'm on the couch at 9:30?
I'm always so tired, Beth.
Me
I don't know
too.
why. Maybe we have to be 60 to have some energy. You just stop.
Maybe you're just like, you know what?
Stuff.
My life is coming to an end relatively soon. I might as well live it up.
What a dark way to put it.
I know. So welcome, happy spring. This is dark.
So the neighborhood, I gave a little description of what the show's about, but how do you describe it to people who ask about it?
Yeah, it's about a family, the Johnsons, who moved from small town Michigan to like big city, Los Angeles, Pasadena, California, and move into a neighborhood where Cedric the Entertainer plays sort of like the godfather of the neighborhood who's been living there for years and generations, and then this new family moves in. And to me, like what I love about this show and why I think it's resonating with people is it's truly, yes, it's about gentrification and all of those things, but it's also at the end of the day about love and family and community and even like generational relationships. Tashina Arnold and I, who plays Tina, who's amazing and one of my dearest friends now, but it's so cool to play that relationship. You don't really see that relationship on TV, especially with her mentoring me as I'm a younger mother and she's been through it with grown kids. And it's honestly like I'm learning so much from playing Gemma, from being on the show. And I'm proud that, you know, it's something at 8 p.m. that everyone from grandparents to their kids can watch together, no matter what views you have or what you believe, and laugh together and come together. And I think for me right now, it's really important to pick something as an actress that brings people together.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so fun to watch, because from the beginning, they obviously set up the tension and you have these two different families. But then as you watch the first season, they really become like this extended family.
Yeah, it's more like watching a big family now. You know, there's not as much. I mean, there'll always be the differences because they're also like small town Michigan, you know, but it's really been fun. And I can't wait till next season because I feel like now at the end of this year, we really got to see who these characters were. And there's 7 of us. So it's actually fun because you never know if it's going to be an episode where like you have to do a lot or you could kind of just like play around, you know? So I'm excited to see what happens on season 2.
So you mentioned Gemma, the character you play.
Yes.
In what ways are you like her and what ways are you different?
My gosh. You know, I will say Gemma's probably the character I've played who's closest to myself. I loved playing Caroline Channing on Two Broke Girls. And one of the reasons I loved it is because she was much different than I was. I mean, I was a Baroque girl when I got it, and I was playing like this rich heiress who's had money all her life. And like, I mean, Michael Patrick King like literally made me get a new pair of shoes. He's like, you don't own heels. I walked into my audition in cowboy boots for Caroline Channing, which like she would never wear. And now I'm like wearing flannels and cowboy boots on the neighborhood and sneakers. And I'm much more tomboy in real life. So, and also Gemma, I'm learning a lot from her. You know, she's a principal. She's you know, trying to juggle being a mom. I've never played a mother before. I'm like getting a motherhood crash course before I have kids of like, oh yeah, kids are going to ask you about death and life and the birds and the bees. And like, you better have an answer. Yeah. And massage parlors. What am I going to say? There's this thing called the internet, you know? I'm like, so it's been cool. And she's strong. Like we did a really great episode I loved with her at work. and we kind of got to address the pay gap with women and men, and just being a woman in the workplace, and also trying to like go home and keep up your family and you know, deal with having a child under 10 years old. And I mean, it's been really fun. It's been fun for me.
That's what the show is able to really tackle, some huge themes and topics, from race to gender inequality to pay inequality, in a really light, fun, accessible way, which is hard. I mean, that balance is really hard to attain.
And I definitely attest that to our showrunner, Jim Reynolds, and even Cedric the Entertainer. You know, the two of them have such a passion for the content of the show. And also, we all know that at the end of the day, the laughter is what's going to bring people together. So it has to be something that we can all look at and laugh. But at the same time, I feel like we've done some episodes that really go there. And on a traditional multicam sitcom, it's very hard to do. And I love that our medium has a little bit more I love that our show has a little bit more of a grounded tone in the sitcom medium.
I got to check out the finale, and there's this whole conversation about privilege.
Yes.
And I thought it was just really smart the way they did it, because sometimes it's hard to see your privilege unless it's kind of put in front of you. But it was done in a really accessible, humorous way, but there's still a lesson at the end.
But you still have to, yes, exactly. And that's what I think I attest that to our amazing writers' room. It's one of the most incredible, diverse, strong writers' room I've ever had the pleasure of saying the words from, and Jim Reynolds and Cedric being sort of at our helm and really putting their blood, sweat, and tears into making a show that we hope is going to be impactful.
And you can tell the tone is just right.
Oh,
There's
good.
so many ways that it could have gone wrong.
I know. You gotta
And
be careful.
every episode I've watched, I'm like, that was done with respect and dignity
and love.
and humor
It
and
all
love.
comes from love. Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about the cast, because I think in addition to the writers, one of the things that make this show so great is the dynamic of the cast. And you have some hard, heavy hitters.
Oh my gosh, Sheena Arnold is my partner in crime on this show.
love
It's
you guys.
funny because it sort of just turned into her and I, as the season went on, being sort of the like Lucy and Ethel getting into trouble. She is my favorite person in front of a live audience to act with, because I love comedy. I love physical comedy, and she loves it as much as me. And when there's the energy of live, she'll throw stuff out and I'll throw stuff, and we really jump off the comedy cliff together. Like there's a chemistry and a just sense of like, what's gonna happen? And then Max Greenfield and I had done a movie together years ago and just loved working together. But it was a short, my character in the movie came in and out, and we didn't really get to dive into like working together. And now, I mean, I just love it. And Cedric did an episode of Two Broke Girls, and Kat and I were like obsessed with him. And so to see him again, and Marcel and Shion, I knew both of them from their work in the theater. And I was fans before they were even, and now, I mean, they're going to be, mark my words, like they're such superstars. And little Hank, he's like
the best
Daniel Day-Lewis.
actor
I
ever.
know. He's like, we always say 7 going on 40. He's like smarter than all of us. He like knows, he'll be like, I'm not going to say this line because of this. And then you're like, oh my God, you're so smart. And you're right. Yeah, like Max and I laugh. We're like, we should just listen to what Hank tells us to do, because
And you're married to Max on the show. How are we going to see that marriage sort of maybe evolve and change going forward? Because we've seen them go through some
ups and downs,
Yeah.
which I like. I liked that episode that we did too, where it was sort of like Gemma trying to make time for him and making sure to make him a priority, and all of those things as marriages go. You know, relationships are always like this, and navigating that. And I'm curious to see sort of as like her work life evolves and then his work life, like how they're going to balance that within the context of like still, you know, having family time and all that. But I like how he supports her in her job and she supports him, and there's sort of like a respect and an equality that I love having on this show. Like I feel like I love that the writers write us as equals, and that's important.
You guys are like the picture of like the white liberal family who's going to move into a gentrified neighborhood with like the most tact and respect possible.
Trying
like,
so hard,
so hard
but like
to be
sometimes
good.
annoyingly hard,
Right.
especially in Dave Max's character is like Gemma's a little bit more cool, I feel like, which I like, because I was always the nerd on Two Broke, and Kat was like so cool, and I'm like, I'm not really that cool in real life, but Gemma's way cooler than me in real life. Yeah.
And I want to talk about really quick with Tichina. You guys are so amazing together, and the stripper episode.
Oh my gosh. By the way, my
Magic
job
Mike?
that day was to go and have the Magic Mike dancers from the Las Vegas show come to set and give me lap dances for like 7 hours. And I'm like, I'm married. I've been with my husband 9 years now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is our job. But Tashina was cracking up because I'm also like kind of a nerd, and I am a little bit like Gemma in the sense that I was like kind of uncomfortable. So I wanted to know like their life story, their hopes and dreams. And Tashina's like, shut up and let them like hump on you. Like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, oh, well, did you study dance? Were you a ballerina? She's like, what is happening? Like, well, you're basically acting out the show, like in real life. But I got to know them, and they were lovely.
That is was really beautiful.
And I would like to go visit them in Vegas and go to the real show because it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also then had to repay the favor, right? Like I saw you doing like the worm
Well, that was
in the
the
video.
best part. I got to do my own choreography after, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
I think they enjoyed that.
Yeah, really sexy worm dancing.
Super sexy worm. There was a little like jazz hands and maybe a box like dance Broadway move. It was great.
A jazz square.
It was, and Tashina's just like, yeah, it was way too much fun.
So you mentioned Two Broke Girls, and that was another really successful primetime comedy. What has been like the biggest difference, or like what did you learn from that job that maybe helped you do this
I learned
job?
everything from that job. I could never be doing. I mean, with Michael Patrick King and Kat, sort of, because I was a nanny right out of theater school. It was genuinely my first like job. So I mean,
I did not know that.
I mean, I had done a few guest stars, a couple of smaller movies, but like truly my first big job, and it became such a hit basically overnight. And so without Kat and Michael Patrick King, I would not have been able to navigate the business or the pressure, all of that. So I thank them. And now, you know what? Now it feels like I'm in my 30s. I can kind of settle in. I know comedy so well because I call it my grad school. Two Broke Girls was like grad school. You know, Kat and I, we had like, 60 pages to learn every week and weekend. And I mean, it was truly like, it's all I thought about. It's all I did. On this show, there's 7 cast members that are leads. So like some episodes I have a lot of scenes and some I get 2 and I get to like dance silly and with Magic Mike dancers and then I'm out, And I'm learning a lot too from being around Cedric and Tashina, these, actors I've admired, Max, for a long time. And we all get to sort of play together and it's really fun.
Yeah, and I would imagine having the live audience, Two Broke Girls taught you about timing, and then this is a
you
similar...
can't, like, you jump off that cliff and they will not laugh. Yeah. So, like, it hurts really hard when you have been doing a joke all week and you're like, bam! And then everybody's like, and you feel it personally. But I will say it's like that you have to, like, it's like tennis or something, where you have to, like, if you have miss a shot, you have to calm yourself and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this again and I'm going to fix it and I'm going to do it better. So I think being in front of a live audience as a comedian, I think a stand-up would say that too, ask Cedric, but I feel like it would make you better the more you fail because you have no choice but to make it better the next take. And
in those moments, do they then stop down and like rewrite the joke?
Sometimes, on Two Broke Girls, we rewrote entire scenes. This show, it's actually like they spend much more time, I think, in the early part of the week rehearsing. We sort of develop it more. So we definitely do punch-ups if a joke doesn't land, but it's less often, I think, of like sort of a style of working. Yeah.
Real serious question here.
Yeah.
How are your goats?
Oh my gosh, they're so good. Dolly, Loretta, and Vincent Van Goat. They were triplets. They were just born from the mother tick. They're awesome. I love animals, obviously. And at my barn, where I board my horse Belle, who's this beautiful rescue horse, who's the love of my life, but she also does animal therapy, and so they were needing sponsors for these brand new goats that were going to be in the animal therapy program, and I was like, oh my God, can I please take them out? Yeah. And so I'm really excited. They're adorable, and they like to snuggle and jump all over you. They're super social. It's really cute.
Have you tried any goat yoga with them?
No, but everyone keeps saying that because I do love goat yoga. So maybe soon.
And you mentioned your horse. I know you do a lot of work with therapy horses, which is such an important thing for so many people.
I think animal therapy, particularly equine therapy, because horses, they are prey animals. So they live in the present constantly. And so when you're around them, you can't fake where you're at. If you're fearful and you try to fake it, they're going to be scared because you're not being authentic. And there's something incredibly scary about them because they are so powerful, but also it's so empowering when you realize, like, if I just show up where I'm at today and I'm just genuinely who I am and in my body and come back into my body, they're going to respond and you're going to connect. And I think especially with sexual assault survivors, there haven't been many scientific studies, but they're starting to, because it's truly changing PTSD, trauma. It's bringing people, back into the present, back into their bodies, able to sort of reclaim their power. And it's been something that's truly like my life purpose. Like, I feel like I think equine therapy is going to help so many people.
And that would make sense too, given your profession. I would imagine just kind of the pressures and dealing with the anxieties, you have this sort of safe haven.
Honestly, it was started with that for me. I was getting panic attacks and it was really hard for me. I'd done meditation and those sorts of things, but it wasn't until I found horses that truly it went away. Like, I mean, it changed everything. And then, I started to think, oh my gosh, how could this help sexual assault survivors? And it was, amazing.
You just have the one horse?
I just have one, but I have so many at the barn that I'm like in love with that I go see every day. So I kind of feel like I have 3 because she has a best friend who's like they're buddies and they're always hanging out. And her name's Boom, and she's so cute.
I can totally see you on a farm right now, just like walking
It's
with
like
all
I
the
want to do.
animals around
Comedy
you.
and a farm, and I'm set for life. Like if I can just get the farm now and be on the neighborhood for like 10 years, I'll be the happiest human ever.
That makes me think too. There was a horse on Two Broke Girls.
Yes,
that's so
well,
much
that's
fun.
how it started.
Oh, really?
So I grew up in Virginia, and my neighbors had horses and stuff, but like I had never really my parents didn't have enough money for me to like have a horse or ride or anything. And so, yeah, Kat and I would notice when the horse was on set, we were so happy and calm, and like we loved the horse who played Chestnut on the show. And then I started riding on the weekends at this horse trainer's farm. Like he would let me come visit him, Gunner, the horse who played Chestnut. And then I just was born from there, my love of horses. And then I started equine therapy, and my whole world changed.
Amazing. That was the best job ever.
It was the best job ever.
So
Both
cool.
my jobs,
Yeah.
the best job ever.
You've had
I
pretty
know.
awesome
I know. Knock on wood.
Yeah, there's wood.
I'm like, I hope it stays that way.
Well, before we go, I know we have a couple of questions from the
Sure.
audience. There's one right there.
Hey.
Hi.
First of all, Beth, you were so incredible of the James the Late Late Show of James Corden. All 3 guys are singing.
Oh my gosh, how funny. Yes.
Yeah. So it was hilarious. So my question is, what was the most difficult scene to shoot between takes?
Oh, on Two Broke Girls or the neighborhood?
Both.
Gosh, well, Two Broke Girls, we did like 150 something episodes.
Maybe the neighborhood.
I know
Easier
the
to-
neighborhood, the most difficult. I had to do a scene. I know exactly which one for the neighborhood. We had to do a scene where I like to do my own stunts because I always did on Two Broke Girls, and then on this show I was like, oh, I don't need a stunt double. I can climb a rock wall, but I'm also like not 24. I'm 33 now, and so I'm like, yeah, I can climb the rock wall. I can do it, But I forgot it's also like an 8-hour day of climbing a rock wall. It's not just like one time up. And so it was really hard for me because also my character had a beautiful, empowering sort of monologue while I'm climbing the rock wall. And then the next day I could like barely move my arms, but I felt like I really accomplished something, and I did it without a stunt double, and it was worth it.
Thumbs up for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good
Thank
on you
very much.
because I'm also 33 and I have to stretch now.
Oh, I
all the
stretched. I
time?
never or foam rolled or like went to acupuncture.
Oh my God, I have like 3 foam rollers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what the hell?
I know. It's sad because I hear my husband's 41 and he's like, oh, honey, just wait till you get 40. It's going to get even worse. I know.
And our parents are 60, and I'm like,
And
what
they're
do
like,
they
my
feel
mom's
like?
killing it. She just goes to yoga every day. I know, guys. But
That's
I
tough.
like doing my own stunts for comedy. I think
Good
it's
for
like
you.
Carol Burnett still does her own stunts,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
One more question?
If you could write like any episode in the show Neighborhood, what would the episode be about?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have joked with Tashina Arnold about how hilarious she'd be at goat yoga because she thinks it's disgusting. Like, because a goat pooped on me during goat yoga, but I took it as a blessing because the goat felt most comfortable with me. The like goat wrangler was like, oh my God, the goats have never done this. It must mean they love you. They feel so comfortable with you. And I was like, great thing to say. Because but also I was like, oh my gosh, we're connecting. And she thinks it's disgusting. So I would love to see Gemma take her to goat yoga class because I think her character, it would be really funny.
Yeah.
And she just is like, I'm sorry, what now? Like goat yoga? I mean, most people say that.
But then she'd really have to do it. Which
But
would
then
be
she'd
the
have
real...
to do it and have a goat on her back, which like I will pay to see. Or I'm bringing her to a goat yoga class and for Instagram. We'll just do an Instagram version.
Please do that.
I will.
Please.
We've been talking about it actually.
Because I'm with her. I think it's pretty gross. I love goats, but yeah.
Put on your back. And I will say, yes, I did get pooped on. So,
Yeah.
but
That's unfortunate.
I mean, I clean up horse. I'm a farm
Yeah,
girl,
that's
so it doesn't really faze me, but I would love to see it happen to Tashina.
Well, I think you should bring that to the writers. I think that could be a nice
That
episode
could be a really funny
in season
episode.
2, which I'm so
Totally.
excited that we get
Thank
to
you.
see.
Me too.
If you guys haven't checked out The Neighborhood, you should. And the season finale airs on Monday, April 22nd on CBS at 8/7 Central. Give it up for Beth
Thanks,
Behrs.
guys.